If you're going into a blast, obviously, I'm not talking about competitors. I'm not talking about contest prep situations. I'm talking about more the general gym bro who jumps to the dark side and is in noob territory because they don't know the switches they need to make. What is up, everyone? It's Russo. I hope everyone is doing well. My voice is kind of recovered, but I can't really do a lot of octave switches here, so you got to keep with me. ASMR sip is 1907. Check out 1907.com. Coupon code Russo. Let's not forget about the ASMR spritz, and if you remember the clam, like the video. We got them all spritzed up. Coupon code Russo, Intelligent Elephant. Check out the Carbon Cologne. All right, today's video is going to be why people go on steroids and still look natty. And I'm gonna break down, my opinion, why I look natty sometimes on steroids, and then, when I don't. There's times I do, times I don't. Comes down to training and diet. I did a video called Sarcoplasmic Training versus Myofibril. Go watch that for the more in-detailed video. But essentially, right, the first thing is people don't train harder when they go on synthetic androgens, right? They continue, training like a noob NPC character in the gym. They don't realize that once they go on gear, once again, sarcoplasmic training, more higher volume training where you're doing blood volume. If you want that action figure enhanced look, you have to go towards that route. And the examples I'll use, and I'll have Andrew throw up pictures, is like, this is nothing against these guys. Pete Rubish, Kevin Oak, these guys are like the strongest guys in the gym. They don't train sarcoplasmic. They're on tons of gear, or we're on tons of gear. I'll have Andrew throw up Pete Rubish screaming in the basement. 780 for a triple is the title of the video. You like that shit? Talk shit now! Right, so you won't guess that he's running a lot of trend because he trains for CNS strength applications. He's not really training like a bodybuilder and going deep into failure and doing more like sarcoplasmic sets, even Dorian style sets. The rep ranges are low and he's not really pushing, the burn, the feeling of the burn of the pump. That matters when you go on cycle, and that's why you see a lot of guys, again, I'm picking out elite level powerlifters. I'm really not talking shit on their craft, but that's extreme examples of like, they're like the strongest people in the gym. Kevin Oak's got like an 800-pound squat, benches all this, but because they're not training like a bodybuilder, they'll never have that bubbly juice look, which my old bodybuilding coach Alec, he would bring that up, that I needed to train more like a bodybuilder because I'm all about personally having a very adapted central nervous system, and then once I'm strong, aka I can incline the 125-pound dumbbells for volume. Sets of like 12 is what I used to do when I was younger. Then that trickles down into the sarcoplasmic training where I focus on the pump and burn, do really controlled slow contraction reps with the 90s, for example, to help actually build my physique. So I think a lot of people continue training like an elite level natural, which you would train with progressive overload of compound movements, and that's about it. And they never really jump onto the bandwagon of training like a true enhanced bodybuilder, which is going deep into failure and kind of throwing that useful, CNS style strength out the window for more or less functional muscle of, still looking like a balloon animal from pumping up the sarcoplasm, from being able to, facilitate that type of training style, recover from that type of training style with the set amount of PEDs you're using. So that's probably like the biggest error I see, is even elite level naturals that look good natural when they go on gear. Yeah, they look better, but then I observe their training and they're still training like progressive overload of compound movements, like very elite level natty style, realizing like if you want that enhanced physique, there's a reason why like people like, don't copy Jay Cutler, don't copy any. Well, you can start copying them as you go on more and more gear if you want to look like a bubbly, full muscle belly bodybuilder. The sarcoplasmic training has to play a role. The other thing that needs to play a role is that your basal metabolic rate, the way you assimilate nutrients, goes through the roof, meaning if you're not providing the building blocks, the wood for the fire, how can you expect the fire to get bigger? Meaning you should increase caloric intake most of the time. If you're going into a blast, obviously, I'm not talking about competitors. I'm not talking about contest prep situations. I'm talking about more the general gym bro who jumps to the dark side and is in noob territory because they don't know the switches they need to make. The protein intake needs to go higher. Where you want to place it is up for your debate on steroids, but I would do a little bit more over a pound per gram of body weight. I would to go a little bit higher. You know, a little bit over a pound per gram. Personally, you don't have to go buck wild, but especially when you first jump the border crossing from natural to enhanced. And then you need to be constantly trickle feeding the body all day, taking your food seriously, as well as cleaning up the diet, because the next video I'm going to talk about a natural bodybuilding trick to maintain fullness. But I will say that your mineral retention changes when you go on steroids, specifically, not really SARMs in my opinion, but steroids. You hold minerals in a much different way, and that's why a lot of super enhanced bodybuilders have to eat super clean, because of the way they cling on to minerals when they're on that many steroids, SARMs, HGH, insulin, the whole shebang. They clean up the diet so they look less watery. You know, I personally go very high with my carb intake because I'm cutting and I want my glycogen stores to be full all the time. Once I'm under 220 pounds, once I'm under 225 pounds, I bring in the carb cycling so you can visually see my insertions, so you can visually see muscle separation, feathering, everything. Currently at 232, 233 in the morning. I'm still a bit too fluffy for that, and I'm still trying to rebuild my central nervous system strength as well as train more like a bodybuilder. But I will clean the diet, I will lower the carbs as it goes forward to bring out that feathering. You have to clean the diet up. You can't expect to have sodium fluctuations all the time when you are enhanced and for your physique to look good in the mirror, because you'll be holding sodium, you'll be holding minerals, and then you'll flush it out. That shit needs to be kept constant, and personally you can go lower sodium in my opinion when you're enhanced, although I'm a fan of high sodium, but I think visually for a look it's easier for a lot of people to go lower sodium, but I think sodium has a lot of performance benefits, so I'm gonna swing towards that and looking slightly more watery. Although if you kept it completely finitely constant and had the ample water intake, you would be fine. The last touching point is water intake needs to go through the roof, right? If you're holding super physiological amounts of muscle, you need a super physiological amount of water, and that's why you should go check out the sponsor of this video, 1907, and buy the best gym water. But you need to make drinking water a priority. Remember, like the Planet Fitness of Andrew threw it up like the gym bro with the jug, or like the 5%er jug. Like, it's a joke per se, it's funny, it's a meme, but when you're not like me and you're like an actual gigantic open super heavyweight bodybuilder, the amount of water you need, because these muscles need filled with water, is pretty insane. Them carrying around a gallon in my mind is completely justified and actually very prioritized for their health if they're carrying around that amount of water, constantly pounding down water as they're excreting water during their workout, aka sweating. These are critical mistakes I see when people first cross the line from natty to enhanced, and they wonder why, you know, other people get better results. Well, they already had that education going in and made those tweaks and changes when they jumped into that, or they are genetically more gifted. But anyone can go against their epigenetics and create an environment that facilitates a change to a better looking physique. I will see you guys in my next video.